Welcome to Storytime at the Roo Bus, a weekly podcast about the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. I'm your host, Sharla.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Daniel. I'm glad to be back this week. Huge thanks to the Calliope ladies for taking over for us last week. I finally said it right.
Yes, Calliope.
It only took me like a year or two. But yeah, I was listening to them on the plane, and they covered a lot of stuff that we haven't in a while, and really we should have. So I am forever grateful to them for covering a lot of campsite stuff that we don't think about because we come in a bus.
They did an absolutely fantastic job. And again, thank you so much to them for doing that takeover episode. We did put out a thing today, who wants to do a takeover episode? And I think we do have a taker for that maybe in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we got an assist from our good friend Jay Sanders, who I know is listening. We need to hang out with you guys sometimes. She was like, hey, Mitchell should do one. And then, of course, he swooped in on the comments like, yeah, that would be cool. That's my Mitchell impression. And I'm like, yeah, you should totally do that.
Mitchell would be great.
Yeah, he's done one before. It was like, what, 2 or 3 years ago or whatever?
It's been a minute since we had Mitchell on.
So,
we need to get Mitchell back on.
I will touch base with him in the coming week. Mitchell, if you're listening, we'll get you on soon. We'll figure out how to do that. We might get you to host it remotely from Atlanta. I don't know. Next week, Sharla and Brooklyn and I will be in NYC for the TOTEM meetup, amongst a lot of other things. I am so looking forward to that. I had the best time in New York when I was there last year.
I have not been to New York in a hot minute. And by hot minute, I mean since like 2009-ish.
Well, let's put it this way. The last time we went to New York, you and I went to a Conan O'Brien taping when he was still doing the late night show from there at 30 Rock. That's
so
been a minute.
That long.
It's been that long.
That long.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like I finally know how to New York now that I did it with the locals there last year.
Oh, much better, much better.
Okay, so, you know, New York locals, shut your ears for a minute because you're probably going to make fun of me when you hear what I'm about to say. But I feel like I get it now. It's not one big city. It's like a ton of different neighborhoods smushed together.
Clearly.
And it's easy to walk from one to another. When we were like barely 25, New York felt unfathomably big to me. But now, it's still big, but now I kind of know where stuff is. And a walk from one side of town to the other is like a mile, and it doesn't feel that bad.
So New York was the very first trip we ever really took together. The very first like real trip. And I remember when we got off the plane and got in the cab, like I was absolutely terrified because that was the first like big city that I ever went to.
Well, we had been to, Atlanta and Nashville, but that didn't really count.
That was the first big city out of the South, I should say.
Oh,
and I was just terrified. Like,
this was...
I guess that was my first cab ride.
I guess so. This was before Google Maps, so I had to literally print out some stuff. You know what's funny is that I printed those out right when Andy Sandberg and them did the Lazy Sunday sketch when they were talking about Yahoo Maps or Google Maps or MapQuest, whatever it was. Double true! Anyways, so I literally had to print it out to figure out where I wanted to go. Now I'm walking around in any big town. I just whip out my phone. It shows me what direction I'm going. Go 2 blocks this way and you'll be at the pizza place you want to go to. It's so easy.
Yeah, now I'm like, oh, should I take this back alley in Bangkok? Sure, why not?
Why not?
By myself at 3 a.m.? Sure.
They can only kill you once.
You only die once.
Yeah. Well, Lacey may say otherwise. But anyways, yes, we're belaboring the point. We will be in New York. So if you are in the tri-state area, please come to Palapa in the East Village at 3 p.m. on Saturday. I literally had to edit because I got the day wrong again. Skylar and Evan are going to kill me.
Saturday, February the 15th at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Palapa.
So Charlotte and Brooklyn will be there. I'll be there a little late because I'm in New York because I'm working. So I got to finish my work shift and then I'll be down that way. I understand Evan has a plan for the afters, about 5 or 6 anyways.
There's going to be some really fantastic afters.
I forget the name of the place, but he's got this like really 70s looking place in mind that he wants to go to that's over there in the village. I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be awesome.
What else do you want to do in New York? We're so lucky that we're there the same weekend as the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing weekend.
There's no way that anybody outside of a celebrity is able to get into the live studio audience, but there's a lot of other fun stuff going on. Speaking of Skylar and Evan, did you see that they went to this like live experience where it looked like they were on the show?
I saw that. I mean, that looked so amazing from the photos that I saw. And I'm really excited about this weekend because as per usual, we've got the crews flying in from around the country. Jax is coming in from Salt Lake City, and
SLUT.
It's just going to be the SLUT, the Slut Crew, And it's just going to be an amazing, amazing weekend for TOTEM and for some of our crew.
Yeah, so please, if you're in the area, come hang out with us Saturday, 3 p.m., La Palapa. It's a really cool place. It's a really fancy but not crazy expensive Mexican restaurant over there in the village. We went there last year. The lady that runs the place is incredible. I hung out with her for about 10 minutes, and she was regaling me with old NYC stories. Me and Skylar have bonded over the years because, like, we have a love of so many of the same things, whether it be Saturday Night Live or this weird grungy era of the New York area around, like, the late 70s to early 80s. If I could time travel, that's one of the top places that I would go to in times. Like, hang out with Joey Ramone and David Bowie and Andy Warhol in that area and probably do unspeakable things that we can't talk on this relatively family-friendly podcast about. But yeah, that's where I would go. Now, for this episode, the theme is going to be, we want to talk about kind of the daily schedule for Bonnaroo. This is going to be something that is a little targeted towards newbies. So stick with us if you're a veteran. We have some other stuff that we're going to go over this week. But here in just a little bit, Sharla and I are going to talk about not the schedule of bands and stuff, but the schedule of what to expect day to day at Bonnaroo. Because not every day is exactly alike, right, Sharla?
Right.
So we're going to get through that. We'll talk a little bit about entry tips and stuff like that. We'll go over that in far more detail in a future episode. But for those of you that are new, or maybe for those of you that are coming for your second year and don't have the best memory of last year for a lot of reasons, we're going to go through that here in just a little bit. So stay tuned after me and Charlotte go through some fun stuff in the Totem thing. And then we'll go through a break and come back to that. But for now, I wanted to ask you about a couple of things that have come up in the past week or two.
Sure, go for it.
Let's start with the Grammys. So neither of us really watched that because it happened while we were in a weird time zone on our trip. But you saw some of the performances and the awards. I just want to ask you in general, I just want your opinion, and I haven't prepped you for this. Do you think the Grammys are still relevant?
Yeah, like 50% maybe?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard to say.
Because they do give the spotlight to a lot of really cool artists, but like I don't know how I feel about like an award show of anything these days.
Right.
Like they released the Oscar nominations about a week ago, and I looked at that and I'm like, man, this just feels a little out of touch. Like there's a couple of Best Picture nominees that feel out of touch. Do you feel like the Grammy nominees and winners are in touch at all?
So the one that always confuses me is the award for Best New Artist.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
When some of those artists literally have like 6 albums out, that just, I don't understand the qualifications.
So this year of all year, I kind of feel like it made sense. I mean, I even have to look this up to remember, but I believe Chappell Roan won this year. And she does feel relatively new. Like, she's not new because she's been working hard for a number of years.
Yeah.
But she really burst out onto the scene.
Right.
In a really big way this year. So I feel like that kind of makes a lot of sense. Right. And yeah, she did win that because she had some interesting things to say in her acceptance speech, right? Uh-huh. She was talking about how labels need to support their artists better and give them like healthcare plans. But she is totally on the money.
Definitely.
I'm totally with her on that. But yeah, there have been bands and artists win in the past. Like, I can't remember if they won or were nominated or whatever because I really don't pay that much attention to the Grammys anymore, to be honest. But like an artist like Khruangbin, and I never say that right, I know. They are not new. They had been working hard in Texas for years before they got nominated for that, right? I just don't understand what defines an artist as new sometimes with the Grammys. You're totally right about that.
Right. I don't understand the qualifications at all. Sabrina Carpenter, I believe, was nominated, and she has like 6 albums out already. A lot of people don't realize that.
I did not realize that. I didn't know it was that many.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I could be mistaken. Like, don't quote me on any of this because, as Daniel said, he did not prep me.
Yeah. But, I just wanted your general opinion on how you feel about the Grammys.
I really do not know.
When I was in my late teens, early 20s, it's something that I did pay attention to because in the late 90s and early 2000s, stuff like that or the MTV Music Awards felt like big cultural deals. Like everybody would be talking about what was on. And I just don't feel like that's the case anymore. We all have our little holes in the internet that we pay attention to, whether it be a Discord channel or taking a look at like what's on the charts on Spotify or whatever. There's like so many different ways to find not only new music, but popular music that you hadn't listened to already. It's not just the terrestrial radio station and MTV like it was for us when we were that age, you know?
Exactly.
It's odd to me especially when it comes to festival lineups. Like, there are a lot of artists that I see on lineups that I don't know that they became popular because they became popular on TikTok. And that's just something that's out of my realm of expertise, to be honest. I'm just going to be transparent about that.
Right. I agree.
Like, the example that I have been giving of the artist that I expect to blow up this year is Gigi Perez. She does the Sailor song. Mm-hmm. That was first introduced to me by Brooklyn back in like October. Mm-hmm. She showed me her TikTok channel. And now she was on Fallon the other night, and she's going to be at Roo. And I really think she's going to blow up in the same way that Chapel Roan did this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I guess my question to you is, do you also feel out of touch? Are the children wrong?
Do I feel out of touch?
Yeah, with that kind of thing.
No.
I don't know.
Not as much as you do.
Well, I don't know if I do or don't. It's weird. We need a resident youth to come on and talk to us. We need somebody on. If you are like under the age of 22, come on the podcast. I want to listen to like where you're finding new music, because it ain't the same as me. And I'm not trying to be an old man. I want to hear. I want to learn. I want to try to pick up new music in the same way, because that's part of what we do. And I feel like that's a bit of a blind spot for me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Another thing I was going to ask you about. Speaking of like big cultural moments that everybody watches, I feel like one of the last relevant examples of that is the Super Bowl halftime show.
So how did you feel about the Super Bowl
Kendrick?
halftime show? Yes.
I had a good time. We went to like a little party that some of Brooklyn's coworkers were putting together. There was about 15 or 20 people there, and there was like one dog per person there also. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
That was the Puppy Bowl.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, Truman, our dog, got to go. Anyways, yeah, that was awesome. I like how Kendrick Lamar gave the finger to so many different institutions. Like, just take your pick as to which one it was. And it wasn't necessarily Drake, let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. But it was so cool when he teased the Not Like Us song. Like, everybody in our little party was like, oh! And then when he went into the whole thing, it was like, oh, shit! Like, he played, like, the whole song. It was so cool. What's been your favorite Super Bowl halftime show over the years?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
I would probably say Prince, about 10 or so years ago.
Yeah, that one was really good. Probably that one.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that one was really great.
Purple Rain in the Rain. Mm-hmm. And he was absolutely shredding.
That was really good.
The Lady Gaga thing from about 5 years ago.
Also, yeah.
I know they have become a bit of a parody of themselves, but I still love U2. And I think that the one they did in 2002, just a couple of months after the 9/11 attacks, was a big deal. I always remember that. They had everybody's names on the big thing behind the stage.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Paul McCartney did a couple of years after that. Mm-hmm. We saw Janet Jackson's boob that one time.
Okay, that's...
What?
We saw Justin Timberlake rip her
you're right.
clothes off.
How did he get to come back around and get past all that and she didn't? That's totally unfair to her.
Right.
That was, yeah. Because he played the halftime show, what, 6 or 7 years ago? Something like that.
I don't know. I don't.
And then she got kind of, yeah.
I don't know. His tour has been ruined.
The tour was ruined. This ruined the tour.
Clearly, he's had more faults than Janet, so.
I agree. Okay, anyways. I just wanted to get your feelings on those two big musical things that have come up in the past week, because I do think they're relevant to the kind of stuff that we go on about all the time. Yeah. Anyway, Sharla, would you like to... I thought we'd just have a fun conversation. I was trying something new. We're always talking about the topic of the week. I just want to talk about what's in the news this past week.
Well, you could have prepped me for that a little bit.
No, I think it's better. I think it's better if we don't prep, if it sounds like an actual conversation.
You're right.
I'm going to give ourselves just a little constructive critique. I think sometimes we sound a little overly prepared. I want it to sound more conversational.
Okay.
I'll think about
that. I'll think about that.
And pursuing that, I'm leaving this in. I'm not editing any of this. Okay, moving on. We were talking about Totem. So, Sharla, let's thank all of our Patreons. And man, this list is getting crazy. It's like 42 people now.
Guys, I just want to thank you all so much for your contributions to Totem. Every day, you are helping more underserved people go to Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
And experience Bonnaroo. And I say it all the time. I cannot brag enough on last year's scholarship recipients. And this year, I haven't dug into it too deep, but I've kind of glanced at the people who have applied for scholarships, and there's a couple of them in there that, oh my goodness, if they're anything like what they've written, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I absolutely cannot wait. I mean, just my heart. Just one of them, I literally had tears in my eyes.
Yeah, there's one. We won't reveal any details because we try to keep this fair and balanced. We have a whole subcommittee that goes through our applications and everything, and me and Charlotte aren't part of it because we don't want to be biased in who gets the scholarship. But I will say this, without giving away any details, there was one that me and Charlotte have kind of quietly agreed if they aren't a finalist, we're just going to buy him a ticket because this person needs to be there. I hope we get to tell the story.
There was one in there that, I mean, obviously we'll reveal it later, but there was one in there that it was literally the reason that, I don't know about Daniel, I would think he agrees, but it was literally the reason that I started Totem.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about, and yes, absolutely.
It was the number one reason that I started Totem.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about those kind of topics in the future. But Charles, let's go through our names now. Okay. All 42.
Okay. Delaney, Molly, John with the Texas Roo Crew, Daniel, Brady, I Am Rave Dad, Taylor, Courtney, Casey with the Texas Roo Crew, Christy,
Texas represent,
Charmel,
Jones. We just talked with him.
David and Aurora, String Bean, Taylor, Zach and Jeremy, Amber, Andrea,
Jables. They got him some good tacos tonight. No, keep going. Sam,
Austin, James, Chelsea, aka Hygiene Queen.
So good to see her lately.
Ryan, Chris and Shy, Dan, Harris, Keith, Casey, Andrew, Amanda, Nick, Maddie, McFerg, Kent, Randy, Bosco, Eric and Ben.
Eric, check your messages. I want to go to that Dodgers and Braves game.
Evan,
I know he listens.
Jay, Chloe, and Sean.
Thank you, everyone.
What's cool about the list is it's getting so big that we're having people with the same name, and multiple people with the same name.
You kind of have to clarify a little bit. You know, another fun.
Did I repeat this?
No. Another fun thing for me is there's a lot of friends, and I'm like, oh wait, I need to tell them something, and I know they're listening, so I can be like, yeah, Eric, I want to go to that Braves and Dodgers game. I got me and Charlotte tickets today. You need to get a GA ticket and go with us. I think Mitchell's going to be there also. Mitchell is going to be there. Anyway. I'm talking personal stuff now. All right. Anyways, that is at patreon.com/Roobus. And I will tell you, I always intend to be fully transparent about things whenever I can. We're pulling in well over $400 a month now. Every cent of that goes to Totem. And it will totally cover our scholarship winners this year. I keep saying winners. We shouldn't say winners. Recipients. Yeah. This is not a prize because we want them to invest in themselves by contributing to the community and learning a lot about things.
And fantastic news. All three of our recipients from last year are returning.
Yes.
Which is just amazing. I keep bragging on, I cannot brag on them enough.
I guess we did something right.
So amazing. It just warms my heart. Just the way that they just showed up and just fit right in as Bonnaroovians.
And I haven't talked about this a while on the podcast, but I have to mention it to people when I'm introducing the idea of Totem to it. This is not a prize. I just said that. It is an investment. We don't give this away just so somebody can come party for a week, although we want them to do that too, obviously. We want them to build themselves up, build up their confidence, their leadership skills, network with people, see what it's like in the live music industry, see what it's like to put a camp event together, because we'll kind of get them to shadow Maddie and Andrew when they're putting together the Wednesday party. And that's going to be a banger this year. We'll talk about that soon. We want to build people up. That's the point of this. So again, it's not a prize. It's not a free ticket. You have to put in the work for yourself. And yeah, if you keep hearing that beeping, we have flood warnings in our area. It's been raining that hard.
It's been raining crazy, yeah.
I know a lot of people that are listening are probably getting a lot of snow, so y'all stay safe out there. Anyways, I'll come back around to Totem. Find us at totemfnd.org. And if you want to be part of the Patreon, it is at patreon.com/Roobus. Thank you so much to everyone for your support. We have more than enough we need for our scholarship recipients for this year, but we are putting money away in the piggy bank for the eventual international program. Stay tuned for that.
And also, there is still time to apply for a scholarship for our mentor-mentee program. So if you know someone that still wants to apply for a scholarship, The applications close February the 28th, so the last day of February. So again, totemfnd.org.
Yeah, so you got like 2 weeks, maybe a little over 2 weeks to put in your application if you haven't already. And that's for both programs.
Again, like Daniel said, what we're really looking for is someone who wants to actively participate in Bonnaroo.
Yeah. Like, I hate to sound like any hiring manager, but real go-getters, But I mean, that really applies. All right. I'm not even going to edit for a break this week. Sharla, should we get over to the kind of like what to expect on the daily schedule on Bonnaroo?
I think we should.
Yeah. Normally I would put in some music right here, but we're a day late, so I don't want to be crunched for time. So, you might think that every day is the same. It ain't. I think there's like Friday and Saturday is very similar, but other than that, every day is a little bit different, right?
Yes. So when does Bonnaroo really start for you, Daniel?
These days, Tuesday.
Tuesday?
It used to be Wednesday or Thursday, but now it's on a Tuesday.
Well, for some people, it starts Monday night because some people get there on Monday.
We don't because I have to work a full day on Monday.
I wish we drove up Monday night, but you say no every year.
No, here's why.
Y'all,
Wait.
Y'all, convince this man to drive up on Monday night.
Look, I'm going to put it this way. I am the one that drives the bus, and the headlights on that thing are not the best. And even with glasses, my vision is not the best. So I'm honestly a little afraid of that. The only time I've ever driven that thing at night is for local stuff around here, like on the highway where it is well lit. Driving those back roads, coming up through like Winchester and all that, it legitimately gives me the creeps.
He's like, oh, we ain't got no headlights.
No, we have headlights. They're just not the greatest.
I got to wear glasses.
I'm just very hesitant to do that. But
I'm just playing with you.
Yeah, I know. They do have a good... Yeah, so that is legitimately something good to bring up because there are a lot of people that these days get to Manchester on Monday. They hit up a place like Common John, the great brewery over there. I'll give them a free ad. They're
Common
fantastic.
John is amazing.
Yeah.
If you've never checked out Common John Brewery,
Whatever.
Anyways, in Manchester, fantastic.
Good
local
food, too.
Brewery. And they have good food. It's amazing. Go check them out.
They have a little stage where they have live music sometimes, too. Mm-hmm. They have like a really cool area out there where they've got like fake grass where you can lay out. There's a little hill. They did a lot for that. I'm forgetting the name right now, but Ryan French put together that impromptu Otherfest. That was the name of it. When Bonnaroo got canceled because of the rain, they had some of the acts over there. And Spicy Pie set up shop over there at Common John. It was fantastic. But yeah, go check them out. They're a great place. We totally recommend. Free ad for them because they're good people.
Yeah, if you have a chance before or after Roo, definitely check out Common John.
And the other place, of course, that people hang out the night before is the Walmart parking lot. They don't.
Free ad for Walmart.
Yeah, well, Walmart. Well, that particular Walmart, because they don't care. Like, a lot of Walmarts are starting to crack down on that, like people parking their RVs and stuff out in the parking lot overnight. That one knows what's happening. They know what's up, and they are happy for you to be there. Just treat them well. Don't leave the store in shambles, because somebody has to clean that up. But they do a good job to put out a lot of supplies that people need for Roo right up front. That's how you can tell if you're local, if you're passing through Manchester. When you go to that particular Walmart, like a month or two before Roo, you can tell, oh, they're getting ready. They're putting out all the camping supplies, like grills and boots, whatever it may be. But that might be something worth considering. If you're driving in from a long way and you have an RV or some situation like we do, go park over there. There will be many others who do. Taco will probably be there, I'm sure. He has that planned with his bus. I think he likes it. I think he just likes being part of the party.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame him.
Don't we all?
Well, that's why we go to this damn thing. All right, so Tuesday is kind of traditionally the roll-in day over the past couple of years. There isn't really much that Bonnaroo officially puts on Tuesday. They might have one or two things out in the plazas, but it's not going to be much. I think that they might have something at Where in the Woods this year, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. We'll have to wait for the schedule.
I'm pretty sure they did last year and the year before.
Did they?
Yes.
I believe you're right. Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the few things to check out.
Woods, yeah.
Tuesday is cool to me because that's where a lot of the very low-key campground events happen. So, after you first get there and hang out with your buddies that you haven't seen in a while and get your tent and everything set up, it's fun to just take a walk around while everything is relatively empty. So, for a while on that first day, and really that night too, a lot of the fields that will be used by campers later are just completely empty. And it's so cool seeing everything like so pristine and clean and like cutting across what's going to be full of cars and RVs later on.
It was always so cool to me to go to sleep on the first night then wake up and seeing empty fields. And then you'll wake up the next day and it'll be completely full.
Oh, yeah. I love that too.
It's so cool.
So, yeah, not too much else to say on Tuesday. Although will say I recommend coming in Tuesday if at all possible. I know it's tricky because of off time from work and travel and everything, but if it's a possibility for you, you should do it. It's so fun. I like to do
Tuesday entry because to me, Bonnaroo is, a big vacation and I like to make the most of it. So that's why I do Tuesday entry.
I mean, back in the day when it was like a Wookiee Jam Band Festival, it was just a 3-day thing. Now it's almost a full week.
No.
What?
When it originally started, you could enter on Wednesday.
Could you really?
Actually, I think you could enter on Tuesday.
I legitimately didn't know that.
Don't quote me on this again. Don't say the Roo said.
Sharla
but
said.
I remember looking at a pamphlet, looking at one of the old pamphlets, I believe it was the first year pamphlet, and it was like something about entering on Tuesday or something like that. Something to that extent.
Sooner or later, we're going to have like an OG who's been to every Bonner. You know what? I want to have a bit of a crossover episode and have Brian Stone on. He talks about these things in passing, but it would be fun to just talk to him for like a whole half hour or so about like, how did it go in the olden days? Tell us about the war, Grandpa. How did it go? I say that, but he's just a few years older than me. All right. Anyways, so let's move on to Wednesday. That has become the big campground party day in the past couple of years. Hopefully I have encourage you all to do that through my old efforts. But these days, like we have said, Andrew and Maddie are carrying that torch for our particular Wednesday party. But there's many others. Some that are planned, some that are not planned. You have to just roam around in the camps. And by that time, there is a lot more happening, both at the plazas and where in the woods, right? Mm-hmm. They've been good to really encourage early entry by having a lot of early events. So when the schedule does come out, and I don't know when that will be, I'm expecting probably like a month and a half from now, maybe. It will have a lot of that kind of stuff. So that is the kind of thing that I think is safe to go ahead and plan out because there won't be conflicts. I mean, I guess the only conflict would be like if there was something good happening during Scootin' Boogie nights. You never know.
Somebody was playing it Where in the Woods last year.
Yeah.
So a side note, in 2024, the schedule came out on April the 2nd.
Yeah.
In previous years, it's came out in either April or May. This year, Bonnaroo has said that they are, quote, shooting for April. So
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. So whatever that means.
Side note, I have been afraid to get into artists until the schedule comes out. Because, like, obviously there's a lot of names that I already know that I'm dying to see. But if I get into too many new artists now, there's going to be inevitable heartbreaking conflicts.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I'm kind of waiting until the schedule comes out until I really dig into these playlists because, like, I will just be heartbroken. Anyways, we'll talk about that another day. Let's move on to Thursday. Did you know, I do know that originally there wasn't entertainment in Cinderoo on Thursday, like in the early days. That was something that cropped up like 5 years after it first opened.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
You stumped me just now.
There was not always.
I didn't know.
Yeah, there was not always stuff in Cinderoo on Thursdays. You can look at some of the old schedules, but there has been.
No, you're making this.
No,
up.
I'm not making that up. You can look that up. I promise.
I think you're wrong.
Yet another reason we need to get Brian Stone on to talk with him about all these kind of old things. Well, all right. While Sharla is looking that up, I'll tell you about what goes on Tuesday. So Cinderoo will open up about like noon, 1, 2, something like that. Music gets started about 2 or 3 that day. That is a really good day to check out as much as you can inside Cinderoo because, again, everything is so pristine. The grass is actually green. It turns into like hay by the end on Sunday. Just kind of get a feel of the land if it's your first time there. Just take a long walk around Cinderoo. I know that the What Stage will be opened up because we have Thursday programming these days. Pretty Lights last year. Charlotte's looking up some old maps right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But take a long walk around. Just see where stuff is. Maybe there is like some art installation that can be a good like reference if you need to take a turn somewhere. Check out where all the activations are going to be. Get a feel for where the stages are and everything, because once everybody piles in, it's going to look a little different and it's going to be a little hectic in terms of getting around and everything. So Thursday used to not really have late nights, but we kind of do these days with the other and everything. Yeah, we'll know more once the schedule is out. But the late nights don't go too crazy. I'm sure they'll be going all night in some of the plazas and at Where in the Woods, but we won't exactly have the same type of late nights that we will have on Friday and Saturday. Charlotte's going back so far to look at the Ichiku stuff.
I think that's where I saw the Wednesday.
That could have been it. See, I'm getting Stone on. I'm going to text him here in a couple of days. We're going to get him on before too long. I got so many questions. There's only like 3 people I know personally that have been to Bonnaroo's back then, like in the first couple of years.
There are people that will pop up on Reddit all the time and say that they have been to every one of them.
But no, Stone's an OG because like he's been to every one. Yes, oh, she found it.
I have an answer. All right, so the first Bonnaroo in 2002 started, the campground opened on Thursday at noon. And Daniel, you're
sense.
right. There was not music in Central Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday back in the day.
Ichiku.
Yeah. Ichiku was kind of the predecessor to Bonnaroo, if you don't know.
Which was in 1999.
The same site.
Gates opened Tuesday, August the 10th at noon to all campers.
Okay.
But I don't know when.
But that's Ichiku, not
that
Bonnaroo.
Was Ichiku, not Bonnaroo.
Did you just find an Ichiku map? I have never
seen. It's on eBay.
I have never seen this. Okay, so we're audio only, so I have to describe this. Sharla has found a map to Ichiku, the predecessor to Bonnaroo. The camping area is not big at all, and it looks like all they used was what would eventually become the what field. This is wild. Actually, it looks like some of the camping for Ichiku was in the area that's now Centeroo.
You don't go.
I have, but I've never seen this. Can you post a picture of that on our Twitter?
And music for Ichiku started on Thursday.
Okay.
So
they were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, Ichiku was ahead because they let campers in on Tuesday and music started on Thursday.
Wow, jeez, man. Okay, back to Bonnaroo in the year of our Lord 2025 instead of 1999. Man, I would give anything to go back to 1999. that was a fun year. Anyways, Friday and Saturday this year, those are to me the prime days of Roo. You got music all day inside Sinroo. There's craziness happening in the camps. Everybody's gotten used to the place. You know the shortcuts through the campgrounds. To me, Friday and Saturday nights are the best nights of the year. Those late nights in particular. That's when rules get thrown out the window. All caution is thrown to the wind. People just become the most insane wooks. Like, it just gets unleashed. So many of us, sit in an office 9 to 5, like throughout the rest of the year, but all of that gets thrown out the window and we just become carnal beasts those nights. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
It is the best nights of the year. Like when we're getting ready at camp and like having a shot with friends before we head into Sinroo for the night, I get so hyped up. I might as well be Coach might as well be putting me on the field for Game 7 of the World Series because that's how hyped up I am when I go in for Friday or Saturday night. And I can't really describe it. It's when you are hearing the last couple of songs from the headliners and then you make your way over to the other half of Sinroo. Everybody's hyped up. You see crazy costumes, crazy totems, unspeakable, insane stuff. You just realize you are in the only place on the planet that you want to be at that particular moment. And it is the greatest thing. For those of you that are doing it for your first time, I envy you because your world is going to be completely different after you've done it. Now, my tip, and I gave this out last year, is to pick a late night that you are going to go hard and all night for. Because I'll be honest, this goes for you younger ones too. If you go hard all night on Friday, you're physically going to have a really hard time doing that on Saturday. What do you think, Sharla? She's over here looking at something on Wikipedia.
I thought you were going to say that instead of Coach was putting you in for Game 7 of the World Series, I thought you were going to say Coach was putting you in after Jason Street got injured. That Coach Taylor was putting you in after Jason Street got injured as the starting QB.
Oh, wait, I'm Matt Saracen?
Yeah, now you're going to be QB1, and you had to take the team to state.
Wow. I guess I could if I need to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I only played one professional football game ever, like when I was in middle school. I played a lot more baseball.
You got a touchdown, too.
Yeah, by accident. That's another story.
You have one career home run.
Yeah, and one career touchdown. One career strikeout.
No. And one career three-pointer.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was like a teachers versus students game. Does that count?
I don't know about that. Anyways, back to the show.
Well, that was pretty much what I wanted to say about the late nights on Friday and Saturday. But I would recommend, and you are free to not follow this advice, pick a late night that you're going to go hard on because it's hard to do. She says do both.
YOLO, you only live once. Or you only die once.
Yeah. I just personally hesitate to tell people to go hard both nights because there's good stuff on Sunday. And if you are dead tired, you're not going to enjoy it if you do that. So, but that's a personal decision. If you feel like you can do it, by all means, God bless you, you should do it. But if you're on the fence, I think you have to turn it in early one night. And by early, I mean like 2 or 3 a.m. Just not until the sun.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you meant like 10 p.m.
No. It's not going to be like, oh, the headliner's done, I'm going to bed. No, God, no. It's Spawner. What the hell are you talking about? But since we mentioned Sunday, we'll go through that really quickly. In the past, Sunday had been more of a chill day. There would be some bluegrass bands and kind of more low-key music. That's not necessarily the case these days. I feel like the biggest rager of Roo last time was Fred again on Sunday night.
Oh, definitely.
So, yet again, another reason you need to conserve your energy. I couldn't have been clubbing it on the floor if,
Clubbing it on the floor.
Oh, you were not underneath that little riser.
No, I wasn't. I was not.
Me and JB and Andrew and some others were, and oh my
No,
God,
I was too tired because I went all night.
Yeah, exactly. I saved my energy, and I was like literally throwing one down like 12 feet under where like Fred was like literally right over us. It was like amazing. And I would not have been able to do that if I hadn't gone to bed early that night.
Someone in our camp, I won't name them, that was so quiet all weekend. And then Fred again rises up, and they were like, "What the hell?" And apparently, it was the funniest thing ever.
It was pretty good. But yeah, Sunday. Another way that it has changed is it used to be everybody would kind of pack it in on Sunday night after the last headliner was done. That ain't the case no more. And I'm not even talking about the wearing the woods thing, especially this past year since that went crazy. I'm talking about back at camp. It feels like people have been more prone to party hard on Sunday back at camp after the headliner. Uh-huh. Have you noticed that the past two or so years?
I've definitely noticed that because in the past, or maybe it's just our group.
I think it's all over. Really? I think it's not just us.
Well, previously at
Bonnaroo.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because we do group camp now. I don't know. But anyways, previously we would go around and it would just be like these people last minute, "Our party's not over, man."
Yeah,
it'd be like those kind of whoops.
We need to get rid of this wine. Here, have some,
Yeah. I remember a Wook coming up to me one Sunday night. "Oh, man, you need to come on. We got a 50-foot pool coming. Got a guy coming to fill it up with some water, man. Come on."
It's like Ron Howard says, it never came.
I remember that. And I remember one time me and Brooklyn had some Jell-O shots left over, and we were trying to give them. We were like, "Hey, get these Jell-O shots."
This was pre-pandemic. I remember.
Yeah, and I was like, "Hey, take these Jell-O shots." And a cop on a four-wheeler came up.
On a four-wheeler and a power trip.
On a four-wheeler, and he's got a flashlight. He rides the little four-wheeler over there, and he waves his little flashlight. "What you got in this cooler?"
You should have been like, "Your mom."
And it was literally. We had already gave all the Jell-O shots out mostly, and it was literally a cooler full of mayonnaise.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I did not know that.
And he waves his flashlight in there, and ain't nothing in there but damn mayonnaise. And then he went on.
It's like, "Oh, are you here for the mayonnaise party?"
He just drove off. He didn't even say nothing after that. I guess he thought I was standing there giving out mayonnaise. Some free mayonnaise.
Ma'am, is this weed-laced mayonnaise?
Like I'd just be standing there. Like I would be standing there on the damn street corner. "Y'all want some drugs?"
Oh, my God. Okay, anyways, what I was trying to say is don't pack it in and leave Sunday night if you can help it. I know some people have a long drive and you have to get on the way.
Some people have to.
Well, I get it if that's the case. But if you don't have a long drive and you don't have to, be back home the next day immediately, stay the night Sunday night and mosey around and find those last-minute parties. They're the best. It's kind of emotional because... a lot of people get together like, "Oh, we won't see each other for 12 months or whatever." Yeah. But that being the case, it's like, "Oh, we won't see each other for 12 months. Let's throw one down right now."
Now, I will say, whatever you do, please be safe leaving, whether you choose to leave Sunday or Monday, because I've heard a lot of stories about people thinking that they can drive out Sunday and then end up just absolutely being so tired on the road that they have to like pull over and take a nap, or they have to pull over and get a hotel that they didn't really plan for.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So definitely make a plan now. Think about when you're going to leave and stuff like that. Because it's such a tiring long day, especially on Sunday.
I highly encourage you to plan on staying the night Sunday. And I get it. Some people have a long drive. I totally understand. But if you can get away with it, make it happen. It's worth it. And we should add in Monday. One thing that I will say is if you get up super early, you can probably get out like pretty quick. But between the hours of like 8 to 10 or 11, traffic gets crazy. I would just, if you don't leave first thing in the morning, just plan on staying put until close to lunch. And then you'll be able to just drive pretty quickly out. So that's it. There's far more that we can go into, and we will go into these things in a lot of these episodes as we get closer to June, but we just wanted to give you a basic outline of what to expect so you could start to plan ahead. We'll probably talk more in the future about what to do about food. So, for example, a lot of people think that they're going to bring in all their food. Y'all, you don't want to be cooking out at the campsite.
Tell that to that guy that left all that rotten meat next to me one time.
Gross, man. There's a lot of different other aspects, and we'll go through it. And again, if you missed it last week, go listen to the episode with the Calliope ladies. They went into a lot of this kind of stuff. And we'll do some more of this in the future. But we have, 4 or 5 months to go, something like that? 5? No, 4?
Not as long as you think. Like 130-something days is what someone said on our group.
Yeah, we had a group call before we started recording the podcast. And I joked if Shayna was here, she would know exactly how many days. She would know the hours. But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you the same thing I told them. When you see the social media post from Bonnaroo that says 100 days to go, you think like, oh, that's a long ways away. That's like a little over 3 months. But that last 100 days goes quickly because it's kind of like the start of the warm weather months. A lot of us are going to like fun things. And right now, time goes kind of slow when we're in the dead of winter and everything. But by the time that rolls around, it's going to go quick. So all these plans, you'll be doing yourself a big favor if you start in on it now. Talk with your group, like start making plans for things that you're going to do at your campsite. Start thinking ahead about like what food and, tools that you're going to bring in and stuff like that. What vehicle are you going to bring? Do you need to think about getting new tires? Do you need to think about getting an oil change?
Yeah.
Do you need new camping supplies? Before too long, it's going to be time to take out that tent to see if it got, eaten up by mold or bugs in the off season.
You're right.
Maybe your Easy Up suffered the same fate and you need to find a new one on sale. There's just a lot of things. And I know it's easy to think like, oh, it's February. I don't need to think about this now. A lot of stuff's going to be coming up. You do need to be thinking about it now. If you get this stuff done piecemeal, just a little bit at a time, it won't be so daunting when we get like April, May.
So that is something that has always, ever since I've been going to Bonnaroo, that has tremendously helped me. Buying things over time instead of waiting until the week before Bonnaroo and going and buying all my supplies. Buying it little by little, month over month helps tremendously with expenses.
Oh yeah, that too. One other thing that I did want to mention, I had said this on our Discord and to a couple of people in person and elsewhere online. I personally am making it a goal to bring a little bit more of the Burning Man vibe to Bonnaroo because we've been twice now and I've been really influenced by that. The big thing that I'm trying to bring from that back to Bonnaroo is people doing little projects at their campsites. Just some fun interactive art or maybe some crazy build that you're going to do. I have been talking with Maddie and we got a couple of plans for things that we're going to do at our campsite. I'm thinking about building a little rig where we can have like Mario Kart tournaments on an old Super Nintendo. And we're doing the Talk to God phone booth. I think we talked about that on a previous episode.
Yeah. And I have some ideas as well that I'm going to...
So that's my homework for all of you. Be thinking about like some kind of project that you can have at your campsite that contributes to literally everything. Maybe it's something as small as one of those give one, take one kiddie pools. But I encourage you to take it a step further than that. Just be thinking about that. If you're doing a group camp, talk with your group like, hey, what can we do to contribute to this whole community and make this a more positive experience for everybody in just a small little way? Maybe we can do a whole episode about that and get everybody's ideas before too long.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah. But the next episode is going to be us from New York. We're going to do it a little different. It's going to be one of these kind of clip shows like we do at Roo or Okie or Burning Man or something. So you're going to hear little bits and pieces and little interviews all across NYC. We plan on doing some of the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary pop-up events if we can get away with it. So maybe we'll do some from then. But of course, you'll hear Evan and Skylar and Lisa and Jax and so many friends that are going to be at our Totem meetup. So really looking forward to putting that together. It may be out a day or two later than usual because those, I'm not going to lie, are kind of a pain for me to edit. But I would rather it be fun and have good audio as opposed to, honestly, the mess that one from Nashville was.
Yeah,
The audio was not
I
good.
agree.
I mean, it was great stuff because we had all our friends there, but we were in a cavernous bar with music in the background and other nonsense. So we're going to do it differently from NYC. And if things go well and we can make it work, Mitchell will be guest hosting the one after that. He's just going to do a complete takeover. I'll get up with him and we'll start getting that rolling. If you want to do a takeover, get up with us. We would love to have you on. You want to nominate anybody for a takeover? I see you're talking to Josh. Why don't we get him to do it?
Oh, Papa?
Yeah, Papa Josh. He can talk about race cars and Braves baseball and Tennessee football, whatever. I don't know, whatever he wants to. Does he
Talk about Bush Light.
I don't know about that. All right, that's it for this
Instead
week,
of Bud
guys.
Light, Bush Light.
Whatever. That's it for this week, guys. We'll see many of you next week in New York. Until then, get out there and radiate positivity. We'll see you later.
Bye.